Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're going to help you build out your career toolbox.
Ooh, sounds exciting.
It is exciting because one of the most powerful tools you can add to that toolbox is open source contributions.
Yeah, it can really be a secret weapon, especially in the tech world.
Exactly. And no matter what kind of company you have in mind, a fast-growing startup or a company undergoing a digital transformation,
hmm
understanding open source can be a game changer.
Yeah, and it's not just about using free code.
Right.
It's really about showcasing your skills, your problem-solving abilities, showing that passion for tech that really grabs people's attention.
Yeah, okay, I'm intrigued. But before we get into all the juicy details about how open source can boost your career, let's just start with the basics.
Okay.
What exactly is open source?
Open source software is really all about collaboration and transparency.
Hmm.
Basically, it means that the code is open for anyone to view, anyone to modify, anyone to distribute.
So it's like a big global brainstorming session?
Exactly. Think of it as a giant global brainstorming session where developers from all over the world can come together to build incredible software.
Okay, so that's pretty amazing, like a massive team project, but on a global scale.
hmm
Why should companies care about, if you've contributed to this, like, global brainstorming session?
Well, think of it this way. When you contribute to open source, you are building a portfolio,
Okay.
and that portfolio is going to speak volumes louder than any resume ever could.
Oh, I like that. It's like showing, not just telling.
hmm
What kind of things does this portfolio show to potential employers?
Well, for starters, it's proof that you can walk the walk, right? So, if you've contributed to a project like Kubernetes, for example,
Kubernetes, okay.
it tells recruiters that you really understand containerization and cloud infrastructure.
Wow, that sounds pretty high level.
It is, but there are open source projects for every single skill level. So for instance, you could contribute to a popular JavaScript framework, something like React, which shows you can build user interfaces and work with a massive active developer community.
Okay, so no matter what your skill set is, there's an open source project out there where you can kind of demonstrate your ability.
Absolutely, absolutely.
That's encouraging.
And, beyond showcasing those technical skills,
Hmm.
open source contributions also demonstrate your ability to work effectively in a team.
Oh, right, because in like any tech role, being able to communicate, collaborate, contribute to a team is super crucial.
It is. You're collaborating with developers from all over the world, navigating different coding styles, figuring out how to solve problems together. It's a giant glowing recommendation letter from a global team of developers.
Like that. Okay, so it's like a triple threat, right?
Yeah.
You're showcasing your skills, you're proving your teamwork abilities,
Right.
and you're showing your passion for tech all at the same time.
Yeah, you got it. So let's break it down now how different types of companies view these open source contributions. And we have to start with the tech giants everybody's always talking about.
Yeah.
Yep.
That companies, those are like the big players, right? So
Yeah.
you're talking Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix,
Yeah.
of course, Google.
Right, right. And what's fascinating about these companies is that they're so deeply embedded in the open source world.
Okay.
They contribute to and often maintain their own projects, so they really have a deep appreciation for candidates who've done the same.
So if you've like contributed to an open source project that's relevant to a company like, say, Google,
Yes.
that's like basically having a VIP pass to the interview process.
It can definitely give you a significant edge because it demonstrates that you're familiar with their tech stack, you're familiar with their approach to development, and you can hit the ground running.
Oh, I like that analogy. So you're like building a bridge
hmm
to your dream job at a FA company. But
Exactly.
here's something that really caught my eye when I was doing research.
Okay.
Google might even use your open source work as part of the interview.
That's right.
Whoa.
They might ask you to walk through your code to explain your design decisions or even use it as a starting point for like coding exercises.
Oh, wow. That's nerve-wracking, but exciting.
It is. It's a chance to shine.
Yeah, you're bringing your portfolio to life right there in the interview room. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so FA companies, they have vast resources, huge teams.
Right.
What about startups? The companies that are just starting out.
Yeah,
Do they view open source contributions differently?
they do. And, while effing companies have vast resources, startups often value open source contributions even more.
Oh, okay.
Because for those startups with limited budgets and tight deadlines, a strong open source portfolio can sometimes be more valuable than traditional experience.
Really? More valuable than like years of experience at a big company.
Yeah, it's
Why is that?
Well, think about it from a startup's perspective. They need people that can wear multiple hats, right? Learn quickly, solve problems creatively and often without a lot of guidance.
Okay, so it's about being resourceful, adaptable, which you can hone in on, like
Yeah.
through open source contributions.
Yeah, exactly. A solid open source portfolio, it demonstrates that you're a self-starter who's passionate about tech, takes initiative, can handle a fast-paced environment.
Those are qualities that are gold to any startup.
Absolutely. It's like saying, hey, I might not have worked at a fancy tech company for years, but look at all this cool stuff I built.
Yeah.
Look at the problems I solved. I'm ready to jump right in and make an impact.
I love that. And that kind of initiative and drive is priceless to a startup that's really looking to disrupt the market and make a name for itself.
It is.
So even if you don't have the traditional big company experience on your resume, a strong open source portfolio can be your ticket to the exciting world of startups.
That's right.
Okay, but what about more traditional companies, the ones that aren't necessarily like tech focused?
Yeah.
Do they care about open source at all?
They do, and
Wow.
while they might not place as much emphasis on open source as, say, a FAA company or a startup,
Okay.
it is becoming increasingly relevant across all industries.
Right, it's because more and more businesses are going through digital transformations,
That's right.
which means they're adopting newer technologies, and open source solutions are often a part of that.
Absolutely. And even if a company isn't directly using open source software, they still value the skills and the mindset that comes with contributing to these projects.
Things like collaboration, problem solving, a willingness to learn, being comfortable with new technologies.
Precisely. These are all valuable assets in any industry. And open source is a fantastic way to develop and to showcase them.
Okay.
So while it might not be the primary focus, open source can still be a significant differentiator for those candidates applying to these companies.
Okay, so we've established that open source can be a valuable asset in your job search, no matter what type of company you're targeting. But how does this all translate into the interview process? Like, how do you actually use this
Right.
in an interview?
Well, let's start with the resume because, as we all know, first impressions matter.
Yeah.
And in the tech world, that first impression often involves impressing those applicant tracking systems, the ATS, that scan resumes for keywords and relevant experience.
Oh, yeah. The ATS. Those can be a bit of a mystery sometimes.
They can.
How does open source play into all of this?
Well, mentioning your open source contributions on your resume can make a big difference.
Okay.
Be sure to list the specific projects you've contributed to, any significant roles you've held within those projects, and any impactful features or bug fixes you've implemented.
So it's not just about saying like, oh, yeah, I've contributed to open source. It's really about showcasing the value you brought to these projects.
Exactly.
What about those keywords you mentioned? Like, how do they fit into all of this?
So applicant tracking systems are essentially looking for specific keywords that align with the job requirements.
Yeah.
So if you've worked on a project that uses technologies that are mentioned in the job description, be sure to highlight those keywords in your resume.
So if a job description mentions Kubernetes,
Yes.
and you've contributed to a Kubernetes-related project, make sure Kubernetes is like visible on your resume.
Yes. It's like adding a beacon
Oh.
that signals to both the ATS and the human recruiters that you have the skills and experience that they're looking for.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So you've used your open source experience, you've created a stellar resume that gets noticed, you've landed an interview.
Yes.
How do you actually talk about your open source contributions in a way that really wows the interviewer?
That's where your passion and your storytelling skills come into play.
Oh.
Interviewers love to hear about your open source journey, so they want to know why you chose to contribute to those specific projects,
Oh.
what challenges you faced, what you learned, and how you collaborated with others.
So it's about turning those like technical contributions into like a compelling narrative.
Yes, exactly.
That showcases your skills, problem solving, your passion.
You got it. Be prepared to talk about the technical details of your contribution, but also be ready to share the personal side of the story.
Right.
What motivated you to get involved in open source? What were some of the biggest aha moments you experienced? What did you learn about yourself as a developer?
That's a great point. It's not just about, reciting a list of technical accomplishments.
Great.
It's about like bringing those experiences to life
Exactly.
and letting your personality shine through.
Absolutely. And, be prepared to answer questions about your specific contributions.
Okay.
The interviewer might ask you to walk through your code, explain your thought process, or even discuss trade-offs you considered.
It's like having a live portfolio review right there in the interview.
It is.
You need to know your stuff.
You do.
I do.
Inside and out. But it's also an opportunity to showcase your communication communication skills
Oh, right.
and your ability to explain complex technical concepts really clearly and concisely. And sometimes companies might even go a step further
Okay.
and look at your open source code directly.
Oh, wow. So they're actually going into your GitHub
They are.
and checking out your code.
It happens. They might want to get a sense of your coding style, your attention to detail, or how you approach problem solving.
Okay, that's a little nerve-wracking.
It can be. It's like having your work scrutinized by a panel of experts.
Right. But it really shows just how much weight companies are placing on open source contributions now.
It does.
It's not just a nice to have anymore.
Right.
It's like a core part of the evaluation process.
You got it. And then for those that are aiming for those senior roles or leadership positions, experience with large open source projects can be especially valuable during system design interviews.
So this is where we get into those high-level concepts like architecture, scalability, building systems that can handle millions of users.
Exactly. System design interviews are all about assessing your ability to design and architect complex systems.
Okay, so imagine you're tasked with building the next big social media platform.
Yeah.
Where do you even begin? It's like trying to build a skyscraper without a blueprint.
That's a great analogy, and that's exactly where system design principles come in. It's like having a blueprint that guides you through the entire process, from laying the foundation to adding those finishing touches.
So what kind of things do you need to consider when designing a large-scale system? It seems like there'd be so many moving parts.
You need to think about things like data storage, user management, security, performance, scalability,
Oh my God.
and how all these different components will interact with each other.
It's like conducting a massive orchestra,
Right.
with each instrument playing a crucial role in creating a harmonious symphony of data and functionality.
You got it.
But where do you learn all of this?
Well, there are some great resources available
Okay.
that can really demystify the world of system design. So one excellent starting point is the System Design Primer, which is a free open source resource. It's available on GitHub.
Oh, that's great.
It provides a really comprehensive overview of system design concepts, architecture patterns, and even common interview questions.
I love that it's open source too.
I know, it's great.
It's like the community is coming together to help each other learn and grow.
Absolutely, and don't underestimate the power of hands-on experience. So try building your own small-scale systems
Okay.
or contributing to open source projects that involve system design challenges.
So it's about putting those like theoretical concepts into practice.
Yes.
And getting your hands dirty in the code.
Exactly. The more you practice, the more confident you'll become in tackling those system design interview questions, and more importantly, building real-world systems that can handle the demands of modern applications.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
It's clear that open source can be a real game changer for your tech career.
Mm-hmm.
From like crafting a standout resume to acing those tough technical interviews.
Yeah.
But let's be real, contributing to open source can feel kind of daunting,
Sure.
especially if you're new to it. Any advice for our listeners on how to make the most of their open source journey?
Absolutely. There are definitely some key strategies that can help maximize the impact of your contributions and make the whole process less intimidating.
Yep.
First and foremost, choose your projects wisely.
So don't just jump into any random project, right?
Yeah.
You want to be strategic about it
Exactly.
and find something that aligns with your interests and career goals.
That's right. So if you're passionate about, let's say, machine learning,
Mm.
and you want to work at a company that specializes in AI, look for open source projects that are related to those areas.
Okay.
So for example, contributing to projects like TensorFlow or PyTorch
Huh?
would be a great way to showcase your skills and get noticed by companies working on cutting-edge AI solutions.
So it's about aligning your open source contributions with the type of companies and roles that you're most interested in.
Absolutely.
It's like building a bridge directly to your dream job.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay, so choose your projects wisely. What's next?
The second piece of advice is to focus on making meaningful contributions.
Okay, so quality over quantity.
Yes, it's better to have a few substantial contributions that solve real problems
Mhm.
or add valuable features than to have a bunch of minor tweaks that are scattered across different projects.
It's like building a portfolio of your best work, showcasing your ability to write clean, maintainable code that adds real value.
Yeah, and make sure that your code adheres to the project standards and best practices.
Okay.
Document your work thoroughly, including clear commit messages and pull request descriptions.
Right, and don't forget open source is about community as much as it is about the code. Right.
You got it.
So you want to engage with the community, participate in discussions, offer help to other contributors, maybe even attend or organize meetups related to the projects you're involved in.
It's not just about writing code in isolation. It's really about being a good citizen of that open source world,
Mm,
collaborating with others, learning from their experiences.
yeah.
And finally, make sure your work is visible.
Exactly. And well presented. So maintain an up-to-date GitHub profile with pin repositories that highlight your best work. Include a summary of your open source contributions on your resume, on your LinkedIn profile, and you can even consider writing blog posts or giving talks about your experiences and learnings.
So it's all about making it easy for potential employers to find and appreciate your work.
That's right. Think of it as marketing your skills and passion to the world.
I like that.
The more visible and accessible your work is, the more likely it is to catch the eye of recruiters and hiring managers.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
Yeah.
Open source can be a real game changer for your tech career,
It can.
but it's not the only piece of the puzzle, right?
You're right. You're right. While open source is a fantastic way to build practical skills and demonstrate your passion,
Yeah.
it's important to balance it with other crucial skills that are highly sought after in the tech industry.
Skills like algorithmic problem solving and system design knowledge.
Those are the things that often come up in those technical interviews, especially at companies like Google and Amazon.
Absolutely, and we're going to dive into those in more detail in the next part of our deep dive,
Oh.
along with those all-important soft skills that can make you stand out as a candidate.
Okay, stay tuned. Welcome back to our deep dive into open source and how it can impact your tech career.
Yeah, we've already explored how open source can really be that secret weapon in your job search.
It's like we're building this fantastic house, right? With open source being a key part of the foundation.
I like that. I like that.
But what else do we need to add to, like, create a truly remarkable tech career structure?
You know, just like any house, you need strong walls and a sturdy roof to make it complete. And
Yep.
so today we're going to talk about two more essential elements:
Okay.
algorithmic problem solving and system design knowledge.
Look, these are the skills that often, like, strike fear into the hearts of even the most experienced developers, especially when it comes to those, like, notoriously challenging technical interviews.
Yes, especially those.
So let's start with the first wall of our career house,
Okay,
algorithmic problem solving.
that's right.
This is a crucial skill, especially if you're aiming for those, like, coveted roles at companies like Google, Amazon, Facebook.
Yes, the FAA companies.
Ah, yes, FAA companies, known for their intense interview processes.
They are.
So what exactly is algorithmic problem solving, and why is it so important to them?
It's all about your ability to think critically, break down complex problems into smaller steps, and come up with those efficient, elegant solutions using code.
Okay.
So imagine you're faced with a challenge like sorting a massive data set
Okay.
or finding the shortest path between 2 points on a map.
Oh, so it's like being a digital detective, right?
Yeah.
Using your coding skills to solve puzzles, unravel mysteries hidden within data.
Exactly. And FAA companies love to test these skills because they're so essential for building those high-performance, scalable systems that they are known for.
Okay, I'm starting to see why this is so important, but how do you actually, like, get better at this kind of problem solving? Like, is it something you're just, like, born with,
Yeah.
or can you actually improve with practice?
That's a great question. And the good news is algorithmic problem solving is a skill that you can definitely develop with consistent practice.
Oh.
It's like training for a mental marathon.
Okay.
The more you train, the stronger and more efficient your coding muscles become.
Where do we start our training? Like, what are some good resources or strategies for, like, improving our algorithmic problem-solving skills?
There are some fantastic platforms out there that are basically virtual gyms for your coding brain.
Oh, cool.
So sites like LeetCode, HackerRank, and Code Wars.
I've heard of those.
They offer a wide range of coding challenges that are specifically designed to help you practice and improve those problem-solving abilities.
It's like a playground for coders.
Yes.
With puzzles and challenges for every skill level.
Exactly. And they allow you to work through various algorithms, data structures, problem-solving techniques, helping you to build that mental agility that you need to really ace those technical interviews.
Okay.
And the best part is you can track your progress, compete with others, and get feedback on your solutions.
Oh, that's like having a personal coding coach right in your pocket.
It is.
Okay, so we've got these resources, but let's be real. Sometimes these coding challenges can feel really intimidating.
They can.
Any tips for, like, approaching them without getting completely overwhelmed?
Absolutely. First, don't be afraid to start with those easier problems, even if they seem too basic.
Okay.
It's all about building that momentum and confidence. So as you start to solve more problems, you'll begin to recognize patterns, develop strategies, and learn new techniques that you can then apply to those more complex challenges.
So it's like building a toolbox
Yes.
of problem-solving techniques, one challenge at a time.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to ask for help or collaborate with others. There are tons of online communities and forums where you can connect with other developers, discuss solutions, and learn from each other's experiences.
Oh, that's great advice.
Yeah.
It's so important to remember you don't have to go through this journey alone.
You don't?
There's a whole community of developers out there who are like happy to help and support each other.
They are.
So once you've kind of laid that solid foundation
Yeah.
with algorithmic problem solving, it's time to build the second wall
Mm-hmm.
of our tech career house. System design knowledge.
That's right.
This is where things get really interesting.
They do.
We're talking about building those like large-scale systems that power everything from, social networks to e-commerce platforms.
Yes, exactly.
So system design is all about understanding how to architect and design systems that are scalable, reliable, and maintainable.
You got it.
Okay, so imagine you're tasked with building the next big social media platform.
Okay.
Where do you even begin? It's like trying to build a skyscraper without a blueprint.
That's a great analogy, and that's exactly where system design principles come in.
Okay.
It's like having that blueprint that guides you through the entire process, from laying the foundation to adding those finishing touches.
Okay, so what kind of things do you need to consider when designing a large-scale system? It seems like there'd be so many moving parts.
There are a lot of factors to consider. You need to think about things like data storage, user management, security, performance, scalability, and how all these different components will interact with each other.
Oh my gosh, that's a lot.
It's like conducting a massive orchestra,
Yeah.
with each instrument playing a crucial role in creating this harmonious symphony of data and functionality.
It is, but where do you learn all of this? Like, it seems like a pretty daunting field to kind of jump into.
Well, there are some great resources available
Okay.
that can really demystify the world of system design. So one excellent starting point is the System Design Primer,
Okay.
which is a free open source resource. It's available on GitHub.
Oh, that's great.
And it provides a comprehensive overview of system design concepts, architecture patterns, and even common interview questions.
Oh, wow. That's a fantastic resource.
And it's open source.
I love it as open source. It's like the community's coming together to help each other learn and grow.
It is, absolutely. And don't underestimate the power of hands-on experience.
Okay.
Try building your own small-scale systems or contributing to open-source projects that involve system design challenges.
So it's about putting those theoretical concepts into practice.
Yes.
Getting your hands dirty in the code.
Exactly. The more you practice, the more confident you'll become in tackling those system design interview questions, and more importantly, building real-world systems that can handle the demands of modern applications.
All right, so we've got our first wall, algorithmic problem solving. We've got our second wall, system design knowledge.
Yes.
What about that roof to tie it all together?
Ah, the roof.
Yes.
That's where those all-important soft skills come into play.
Oh, yeah, soft skills. Those are the ones that people often overlook. They do.
But they're so essential
They are.
for success in any tech role, regardless of your technical expertise.
Absolutely. We're talking communication, teamwork, problem solving, adaptability, leadership, and the ability to really work effectively with others.
Like the mortar that holds all the bricks together, right?
Yes, exactly.
But how do you actually develop these soft skills? Like, can you learn it from a textbook?
Well, textbooks can provide some guidance, but the best way to really develop those soft skills is through experience and practice.
Okay.
And guess what?
What?
Open source can be a fantastic training ground
Ah.
for honing these essential abilities.
I see where you're going with this.
I think you do.
So, because when you're contributing to open source, you're constantly collaborating with others.
That's right. You're working with developers from all over the world, navigating different personalities, communication styles, coding preferences, giving and receiving feedback,
Wow.
learning how to resolve conflicts constructively, and figuring out how to work together effectively to achieve a common goal. It's like being part of a global team where you're constantly learning and growing, not only as a developer,
Yes,
but as a communicator and a collaborator.
absolutely. And don't underestimate the leadership opportunities
Oh, okay.
that open source can provide.
Mhm.
You can take on maintainer roles, mentor other contributors, or even organize meetups and workshops.
That's a great point. Those are all valuable experiences that can help you develop your leadership skills
Yeah.
and demonstrate your ability to take initiative, guide others, contribute to the community beyond just writing code.
Exactly.
So we've got our foundation,
Yep.
open source contributions.
Mhm.
We've got our first wall, algorithmic problem solving.
Yes.
Second wall, system design knowledge.
Right.
And now our roof,
Yeah.
essential soft skills.
That's right. Our tech career house is really starting to take shape.
It's looking pretty impressive. But, building a house is one thing.
It is.
What about maintaining it
Yeah.
and making sure that it can withstand the test of time?
That's where those concepts of continuous learning and a growth mindset come into play. And we're going to explore those crucial elements in the final part of our deep dive.
Stay tuned. Welcome back to the deep dive. We're in the final stages now of building our dream tech career house.
I know. It's exciting.
I'm excited too. We've laid the foundation.
Yes.
With open source contributions, we built strong walls with algorithmic problem solving and system design knowledge.
Yes.
And topped it off with a roof of essential soft skills.
We've been busy.
We have been busy. Our career house is looking pretty impressive.
Yeah.
But as anyone who owns a home knows, the work doesn't stop.
No.
Once the construction is finished.
Never.
You need to keep up with maintenance, make upgrades, maybe even add an extension or two
Absolutely.
as your needs evolve.
Yeah.
So how do we make sure our tech career house stays in tip-top shape and doesn't become outdated in this, ever-changing technological landscape?
Well, that's where the concepts of continuous learning and a growth mindset become super important.
Yes, continuous learning. I've heard so much about how important that is, especially in tech where things are changing at like lightning speed. But what does it actually look like in practice?
It's about being a lifelong learner,
Okay.
constantly seeking out new knowledge, skills, and experiences to stay ahead of the curve.
So it's almost like a subscription to those software updates.
Yeah.
You're always downloading the latest patch, bug fix, or new features to keep your system running smoothly.
It's not about learning something once and then you're done. It's about staying curious, making learning a regular part of your routine.
Okay, so how do we do that?
Well, the great thing is that there are so many resources available, both online and offline. So you can take online courses, you can attend webinars, listen to podcasts like this one.
Oh, yes.
Read industry blogs and articles, go to conferences, join meetups, or even just have conversations with other developers and learn from their experiences.
There are so many options.
It's like a giant buffet of learning opportunities. And you can pick and choose what works best for your interest and your goals.
I love that analogy. So you can customize your learning journey
Right.
to fit your own unique needs and preferences.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to step outside of your comfort zone.
Okay.
Because sometimes the most valuable learning experiences come from tackling challenges that push you beyond your current skill set.
That can be a little scary, but also exciting.
It is. It's all about embracing those moments of, I don't know,
Yeah.
but I'm willing to learn.
I love that. And hand in hand with continuous learning is the importance of cultivating a growth mindset.
Yes, very important.
I've heard this term before, growth mindset,
Yeah.
but I'm not really sure what it means. Why is it so important for a successful tech career?
A growth mindset is all about believing that your abilities are not fixed,
Yeah.
but can be developed through hard work, dedication, and a willingness to learn from your mistakes.
So it's about embracing challenges as opportunities to grow.
Yes, exactly. Seeing failures as learning experiences, believing that you can always improve no matter where you are on your journey.
It's that classic saying, it's not about how many times you fall, but how many times you get back up.
It is. A growth mindset is all about resilience, perseverance, and a belief in your own potential.
It's about shifting your perspective from, I can't do this, to, I can't do this yet, but I'm going to figure it out.
You got it. And that kind of mindset is essential for navigating those ups and downs of a tech career. Because let's face it, there will be challenges, there will be setbacks, there will be moments when you feel like you're not good enough.
That's so true, especially in tech. When things are constantly changing, it's so easy to feel like you're falling behind.
I agree.
Or that, everyone else knows more than you.
It can feel that way, but a growth mindset can be so powerful in those situations.
Yeah.
It allows you to reframe those challenges as opportunities for learning and growth, and it helps you to see those moments of failure
Right.
as valuable feedback that can guide you towards improvement.
Yeah, so it's about turning that feeling of, I'm not good enough into fuel
Yes.
for growth and development.
Yeah.
That's like a really empowering way to look at it.
It is. It is. And the more you practice this mindset, the more resilient and adaptable you'll become as a developer and as a person.
I love that. Okay, so we've got continuous learning,
Hmm.
staying curious and constantly expanding our knowledge and skills. And we've got a growth mindset, embracing challenges and seeing failures as opportunities for growth.
Yes.
Those are two powerful tools for keeping our tech career house strong and vibrant for years to come.
Absolutely. And the best part is these concepts apply not only to your tech career, but to all aspects of your life.
That's so true. Continuous learning and a growth mindset are essential for personal growth and fulfillment, no matter what path you choose in life.
Couldn't agree more. Well, we've reached the end of our deep dive into open source and its impact on your tech career.
It's been a great deep dive. What are some key takeaways you'd like our listeners to remember?
Yeah, great question. I think the biggest takeaway for me is that open source is more than just free code.
Yeah.
It's a powerful way to build your skills, demonstrate your passion, connect with a global community of developers, and even open doors to incredible career opportunities.
And it's not just about the technical contributions you make.
No.
It's about the collaboration, the learning, the problem solving, the personal growth that comes with the journey.
Exactly. And, we also talked about the importance of balancing that open source experience with those essential skills, like the algorithmic problem solving and system design knowledge.
Yes.
That are often crucial for landing those coveted tech roles.
Right. And we can't forget about the soft skills,
Yes.
like communication, teamwork, leadership, which are so essential for success in any field,
Right.
but especially in this collaborative world of technology.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And finally, we emphasize the importance of continuous learning and a growth mindset
Yes.
as essential ingredients for a successful and fulfilling tech career and really life in general.
Yes. So true. So true.
If I could leave our listeners with one final thought-provoking question,
Okay. Hit me.
what would it be? If you could contribute to any open source project right now, what would it be and why?
Ooh, that's a good question to ponder.
It is. It challenges us to think about our passions, our skills, how we can make a meaningful contribution to that tech community.
So go out there, explore the vast world of open source, find a project that speaks to you, and start building something amazing.
Yeah.
And remember, whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out on your tech journey, the key is to stay curious, embrace those challenges, and never stop learning.
Absolutely.
Happy coding, everyone.
Happy coding.